how to actually be consistent as a photographer in business. Because if you want to run a business out of your art where you are thriving and you are reliably counting on that income to support yourself and your family, you have to learn how to be consistent. And I imagine if you're here, you know exactly what to be doing, you know all the good strategy, and you probably find yourself constantly hitting that wall thinking, why is this so hard to actually do the things I know I should be doing? Okay, first of all, being a creative entrepreneur, one of the most important skills you need to have is knowing how to be kind to yourself and to not get blocked up in shame, right? That feeling of feeling bad for making mistakes or feeling bad for struggling with something. And you have to know how to move forward through that, okay? And just act. In order to be consistent in your business as a creative entrepreneur, as a photographer, you also have to know how to generate energy for yourself, okay? And I was reminded and brought back to this lesson recently because also the cliche phrase is true that the journey is not linear. You will learn a lesson, you will even master it, okay? And then something will happen in your life, even when you are at the top of your game, okay? Something might happen in your life that will knock you right on your booty, and you will have to revisit the lesson and maybe even go to a deeper layer of it. So that is also normal. So recently, back in February, I was invited to go teach at a photography workshop for motherhood photographers, newborn photographers, family photographers. I went and taught at this retreat. It was absolutely amazing. It was with the Motherhood Anthology. Phenomenal retreat, 10 out of 10 recommend. Being in community, in person with other people who share your passion and your interests, you're shooting together, you're vibing, you're talking about ideas, you're sharing your struggles, you're having fun together. There is something truly so magnetic and electrifying about that experience. So I came home and I just felt this intense motivation to just go all in on my Instagram, okay? Now, leading up to this for the last couple years, but especially the last year, I have really committed to achieving more consistency in my social media strategy. And I generally show up a few times a week, but every now and again, I will cycle in like a 30-day challenge where I show up every day for 30 days. And every time I do this, around day 12 to 14, I will start to experience this intense momentum. Because that's the thing, whether it's your social media strategy or in your business, that consistency, not frequency, you don't have to do something a lot. You just have to do it consistently. That consistency you need to actually build momentum and start making money, booking your offers, getting in front of your ideal client. Okay. So I showed up, and I didn't just show up for 30 days. I went strong for like almost 90 days. Maybe it was about 90 days. I showed up every day. I showed up multiple times a day. When I was feeling it, when I had an idea, I executed it. About 90 days in, I just all of a sudden completely crashed and burnt out so intensely. And then I disappeared for like 5 weeks because I was not generating energy for myself. I was not taking care of myself, okay? And this is something that I have learned in my business. I've done this for 18, almost 19 years, 10 of which I've had children, and I have supported my family 100% with this career. So you know where I'm coming from in this. This is not just a for fun thing for me. And I can tell you that the more that I take care of myself, the more I generate energy for myself and the more money I make, okay? And this is something that happens without fail every single time. With that being said, stick with me because I also realize as a creative entrepreneur, right? A lot of us are very deeply feeling empathic individuals. A lot of us are parents. A lot of us are mommies, especially if you're here as a family photographer. A lot of us struggle with being highly empathic and sensitive and creative. Maybe we have ADHD, right? It can be a challenge to prioritize ourselves and take care of our health. But I am telling you for a fact, without fail, when you take care of yourself and you generate energy for yourself, you have so much more capacity to make these choices in your business that are harder to do at first, right? You need that momentum to do them. And when you raise your prices, when you show up in your marketing and you're more visible, because that can be really challenging, when you create systems in your business and you start actually doing less work, but you're getting more done, you're being more productive by doing less work. It sounds crazy because if I said to you, would you like to make more money and do less work? You'd be like, yeah, I want to do that. But when you first start doing it, it would actually be really challenging for you because your brain is so used to doing a certain amount of work and maybe grinding and hustling. It requires, to some degree, challenging mindset work and working through those mindset barriers to get to the other side where you reprogram your brain and you're consistent, right? You need capacity and energy to weather those mental storms. As creatives and photographers, a lot of times we get caught up in these cycles of not taking care of ourselves and staying up late to do our work because we feel like that's when we get our best ideas, maybe. Or maybe this is just me, but my body has an actual kind of an addiction to that stress of staying up late and using cannabis and eating bad food and, drinking too much coffee in the morning to wake myself up. I don't do that anymore, but every now and again, I'll have a night where I just stay up till 2 a.m. and I take an edible and I have that feeling in the morning, and there is almost like a sick pleasure in it if you really pay attention to how your body feels. Anyway, maybe that's just me, but when you are a creative, if you can do the work to take care of yourself, I promise you it will pay dividends. It will pay tenfold on what you will receive in return, and you will have so much more capacity to show up in your work consistently. Those things that felt hard will still feel hard, but they won't feel as paralyzing, and you'll be able to start having the energy to move through them. If you're listening to this and you are also a parent, I can tell you, man, it is really incredible the difference when you have the energy to stay calm in the face of your kids losing it so that you can be the calm captain in the storm. When your partner comes to you and they're freaking out about something that normally then triggers the heck out of you into another reaction, then you guys start fighting, it becomes easier to pause and not act on that trigger and to stay calm and then say, okay, that's really hard to hear. Let's talk about that, right? That is almost impossible to do that, or to stay calm for your kids, or not just start yelling or right? It starts to become a lot easier to do that stuff when you have the capacity, when you have the energy. And when we're talking about generating energy, because here's the thing. Yes, I have felt this over the course of my career, okay? Especially as I've leveled up and worked on these things, the more I've taken care of myself, the more energy I've had, and I felt that success. But I didn't have the words to put to it of generating energy until recently I read the book by Brendon Burchard, High Performance Habits, and he talks about these 7 things that high-performing individuals do, and one of them is they know how to generate energy for themselves, and they know how to generate a lot of energy. And some people just naturally have a lot of energy, even not taking care of themselves. So you also might be one of those people, but I'd be willing to bet that even if you were, you would still be absolutely blown away at what you could accomplish, how calm you could stay, how consistently you could start showing up and doing things that once felt hard. I bet you'd be blown away at the difference of if you started even doing the simplest things to take care of yourself. Okay, if you're still with me on this, let's talk about how do you actually do that? Because it's not just like eat healthy, work out. Look, I'm not gonna offend you by just saying that, okay? That is obviously one way of doing it, okay? But I was hanging out recently with one of my best friends, and we were talking about being healthy and what that means to have a lot of energy and take care of ourselves. And she was saying that she feels really great when she eats plant-based with a little bit of fish. And I was saying, I feel like absolute trash when I eat plant-based. I tried it. I really wanted to. I really wanted to do it, and I just couldn't. I'm an O-negative blood type. I need me my red meat. I need me my protein, and I need a lot of protein. Taking care of yourself might look entirely different for you. And taking care of yourself might look completely different in different seasons of your life. Okay? So again, if you are a parent, there might be no getting around the fact that you're not able to sleep throughout the night. You don't get to just go to bed when you want and stay asleep and sleep, 10 hours a night. That might not be accessible to you, and that's okay. You do what you can with what you have available in this season of life. So I will tell you that the simplest things to generate energy for yourself will come down to being hydrated, because when you're dehydrated, it is wild. The symptoms that you will have when you are dehydrated, you will have, and also anxiety, by the way, is one of those things that happens when you're dehydrated. So recently, I just saw this great video where this girl who said she struggles with ADHD as an entrepreneur, she said that even just having a glass of water before she went to bed and a glass of water right when she woke up completely changed the capacity she had and her anxiety throughout the day. So you can achieve a lot by just something simple as hydrating yourself, having that, 64 to 100 ounces of water a day. If you have it available to you, having good sleep hygiene, it's so hard to do, especially when you have kids or you're used to staying up all night editing. I so get it. I get why this is challenging, but I promise you, when you start to have good sleep hygiene and go to bed at a decent time, even waking up early, oh my gosh, it is life-changing. And now that I'm in my 40s, I find that when I was in my 20s, when you're in your 20s, you can get away with doing all the things, that don't feel good because you have so much natural resilience in your body. Now that I'm at my 40s, I am so viscerally feeling when I don't take care of myself or I don't get good sleep. I really am aware. So also keep that in mind, that it does take more self-motivation to do that in your 20s when you can kind of get away with doing whatever, to yourself and abusing the body a little bit. But that sleep and that hydration is everything. And if you struggle with consistency, if you struggle with anxiety, paralysis of self-doubt, just that mental piece of it, I'm telling you, give up sugar. I am telling you, it is the unsexiest thing I could possibly say, and it is the realest thing I could say, okay? And I say this as someone who I grew up with a lot of traumatic stuff in my childhood. I have suffered my whole life with anxiety and ADHD and just that rumination. If I give up sugar, it takes like about 2 to 3 weeks, because you'll actually feel worse at first when you give up a lot of these numbing out things, which can make it really hard to keep going. And then around 2 to 3 weeks, you will get this, it's like the clouds part and the sun comes out and you're just so much more balanced feeling. And it may not completely solve a lot, right? I understand there is a separate piece to all of this. There is a lot that goes into our own unique things we struggle with reprogramming our minds and our own unique challenges with our mental health or the things going on in our life. But regardless, you will absolutely feel a very noticeable difference if you give up sugar. The last thing, and this is the hardest thing, okay? Giving up all of your numbing things and your vices. You don't have to restrict yourself. Don't restrict yourself, okay? Because that's not a good idea either. But when you think about what are all the numbing out things that you're doing to avoid being present in your life, or you're avoiding maybe dealing with hard feelings or, right, like things in our business that can feel really challenging, when you stop doing those numbing out things, like maybe drinking every day, having cannabis every day, overly taking stimulants every day, watching too much TV, scrolling on your phone all the time, I don't know, whatever it is. And again, look, take what speaks to you and leave what doesn't, because I know some people having a little bit of an edible at the end of the night helps their mental health. I would also like to say to you, just so you have more things to consider, as someone who I spent probably 15 years every day using cannabis, it's legal here. It's helped me a lot with my mental health. It helped me a lot with my sleep and training my brain to be able to fall asleep because I had such bad anxiety. I just couldn't turn my brain off. So that was very effective for me for a long time until it wasn't. And then having children, having a certain level of responsibility in my business, using cannabis no longer helped me. And it was something I used to escape and to cope and to get through, instead of facing the fact that there were things I was doing in my life or in my work that were not serving me. I was not managing my time well. I was not doing some of the things that I knew I needed to be doing in my life or my work. There were issues in my relationships I wasn't dealing with properly, right? To a certain point, it became a coping mechanism and a way to escape. That is something that it drains your energy and it distracts you from the things that you need to be doing in your life to actually get you where you want to be, like showing up consistently. So think about what are some things that you can do to pour care and love and respect and energy into yourself by taking care of yourself. You are the source by which all you are capable of doing comes from. If you are expansive and you're full of energy, you have a lot to give. You have a lot to create with, okay? When you want to be a successful photographer, especially I can speak to being a family photographer, you need to know how to create a lot of space for yourself. You need to create a lot of space inside your internal environment, in your psyche, your spirit, your mind, your creative mind's eye. And you need to know how to create space when you're with your clients. And so if you pour a lot of love and care into yourself, you take care of yourself as a vessel, you have a lot there to create with. You have a lot to give, and you have a lot of capacity, again, to be flexible and to weather these mental storms that are a feature, not a bug. It's not a matter of if, it is when. As you progress in your career, and you could be so successful, you go to that next level and you will revisit these lessons all over again, and you need that capacity to succeed, okay? So I know that none of this is the thing that any of us want to hear, but if you can get over that initial hard part on the other side, I promise you, there is so much goodness. You will make so much more money. You will show up more in your business. You will start to work through the things that have been hard for you. You will start to feel proud of yourself. Oh my gosh. Do you know what you cannot buy? Pride in yourself, okay? Pride in yourself is just absolutely priceless, okay? And the feeling of competency and doing well in your work and being able to provide for your family or provide for yourself is just the best feeling in the world. It's a level of safety and relaxation that is just amazing. And I want that for you. And you don't need to overwhelm yourself. You don't need to burn yourself out. Just go into the nines with this, right? Because you have to do it sustainably. So if I could leave you with a little something to actually do, like a tangible action, sit down with your journal or whatever, brain dump. How much are you taking care of yourself in your life right now? How much do you pour into yourself? What is maybe one or two really simple things, in addition to just drinking water? What's something really simple that you can do to pour love and care and respect and just nourishment into yourself and take better care of yourself? And again, don't beat yourself up. Don't get blocked up in shame. It is never too late to get good at something and to turn something around. And anyone who is successful will tell you this. No one really posts all the hard stuff or the ways that they struggle, or, you know, they're a millionaire now, but like they weren't posting saying, hey, I have $10 in my bank account and I don't know what to do and I am doubting myself and I feel like a loser. Like, people don't typically share that part of the journey until they've made it. Every person I've ever known who is extremely successful has gone through that intense, difficult part where they have to face themselves and then they have to choose to take care of themselves. So take some time to think about how can you take care of yourself and generate even just a little bit of energy for yourself, and just remind yourself that you are so amazing and this is not for the weak. And just the fact that you are even here and you care and you want to do better for yourself and you want to work on this is incredible. All right, with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I would love to know, what did you think about this video and what did it bring up for you, for the good or the bad? I want to hear it.